Hello, everyone. It's Sunday once again. Mabuhay. That's what we say in the Philippines. Because yeah, it's now 2 o'clock in the UK, not in the Philippines. It's 9 o'clock at night in Manila. And welcome to another episode of Ask the Drama. Today's guest, I'm actually really proud of this drummer, this person, because he's amazing. And like I've said earlier, Mabuhay, because he lives here now, and I think he grew up here, but his parents are originally from the Philippines, so he's very special to me. Yeah, so he's probably the youngest guest I've ever had on the show because he's just finished his exams, university exams, and I'm really glad that I bet he's glad that he's over now, and I'm really happy that he's here. So, my dear friends, please welcome Lorenzo Nery. Oops, hold on. There you go.
Hi, hi. How's it going?
Hello, Lorenzo. Is it Renz, isn't it? It's Renz.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really mind, but Renz is like a very like casual nickname that I'm more than happy
Yeah.
to have it. So yeah,
Yeah. So, how are you?
yeah, I'm alright. I'm just chilling throughout my day, enjoying the down low, finishing exams, and just kind of coasting by. Really, just relaxing or trying to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, how did you feel? How did your exams go? Are you confident?
I think they went alright. Like I think I prepared for as much as I could for them, so I think they went all right. And it's weird because only due to COVID, only one of my like a lot of the exams went online, and so the last
Yeah.
like in person exam I did was for my A levels. So I only had one in person exam for my entire like degree. So it was a bit jarring, but apart from that, I think they went all right, and I still have to wait. Like I think it's start of July. I find out what like how I
Yeah.
did, but exciting times.
It's that period when during the COVID years, that must be really hard, especially for the young people like yourself. And I know my daughter. I mean, it was really hard for her as well. She took a gap year, and that was the year that COVID happened. So it's almost like a waste, waste of time. So
Yeah.
how was it to the young people?
So like I can only really speak for myself, but the I would say so like the height of COVID and like the lockdown was really when I was in first year, and so I moved out in first year in a student house, and it was it was all right. It was all right, but it really depended on like the people that I lived with because there was only like five of us and we're stuck together for effectively like the entire year.
Yeah,
So it was an experience, a lot of character development, I guess. Um, but it was like trying to find creative ways just to like try not to get bored, but also try and take care of each other's mental health because you are
yeah,
stuck in the house pretty much like for ages, and it's about just because everyone has to deal with it, and it's like I agree,
yeah,
it was a rough time, but it
yeah.
was what it was, and
I mean,
hopefully everything came better because of it.
yeah. Well, I'm glad that. I mean, it's still here. I mean, we still have to
Yeah,
be careful not to get. But I'm glad that
agree.
it's not as deadly as it was when
Mm.
when it started. But anyways, how's the family? Because I said, I've known your family, and I've seen you and your brother as well. So like when you were young and everything. So how are they?
Yeah,
They
no,
okay?
they're pretty good. Like it's weird because I've been so like busy with uni that I've like not really like I've kept in contact. That sounds really bad. Like I've like talked to them every so often because like I feel like I'm fairly independent. I can just do whatever. They kind of just assume I'm just chilling, but which I guess I am. But
Yeah.
they're doing all right. They're doing all right. I'm fine to like
That's-
obviously because I'm moving back like the end of this month because like uni's finished. It'll be
yeah.
like be weird moving back and be like, hey, remember me? Nah,
Yeah.
but that is doing all right. It's weird because my younger brother he's going into uni in September, so he's like moving out and I'm moving in.
And then you
So
move
it's like
back.
yeah, so it's like it's like a replacement thing. I'd be like, oh. Hi. Yeah, but yeah, they're doing all right. They're doing pretty good. They're just like chilling.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
I think that's what's good about us Filipinos is like we do love being, with our parents, and we do love to be sort of like staying together in one house or something. But I'm sure so like sooner or later you'll be moving out yourself or something. But maybe
Yeah.
not for a while yet. But
Yeah. True. True. I
yeah.
had to save up a bit, but yeah. No.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's one of them.
I'm gonna say thank you so much to your mom because the last time I saw your band, the Panamas at 33 Oldham Street, I mean, it was your mom who gave me a ticket because it was sold out. It was so like so good, and I'm gonna ask you later on about your band, but first, let me just welcome you to Ask the Drummer. So, episode 83 is all about you, Lorenzo Nery. So, can,
Thank
you,
you.
can you tell us where were you born? I mean, you weren't born here in the UK. You were born
Yeah.
in
So I
Philippines.
was So I was born in the Philippines in San Pedro Hospital in Davao, and I pretty much just grew up in the Philippines until I was like 3 and then moved over here. So I pretty much got brought up like as a typical like British guy, I guess. But I was definitely immersed in Filipino culture with like, the food, especially the karaoke. That's my
Yeah,
favorite bit. But like apart like it's weird because even though like obviously I was brought up in like the UK, I still like held on to like cultural roots and all the different components of Filipino culture, I'd say.
yeah. Yeah, because I mean, even though Adele was born here, my daughter Adele, because you know Adele as well, she really loves sort of like the Filipino culture, and she wanted to know more about the Philippines and how it was. But anyways, yeah. So you you moved to the Philippines when you were 3. Did you say?
Yeah, yeah, I
3 years old?
think went around
So you
three.
pretty much, yeah, yeah. So yeah, like you said, you grew up here, so it's more sort of like the British culture that you're
Yeah,
more
yeah,
into
definitely, definitely.
than the Philippines. But um, where did you go straight to Stockport or no Cheadle
Yeah,
or
so but
you?
from like it's like from what I've asked my parents, my mum like my parents like came over to Cheadle and I kind of just settled in the area and I've kind of just been there ever since. It's just like it's just like this what I know, It's just like this is my area, and it's like it's weird to think like, oh, I could have been in anywhere else in the world, and here I am in Cheadle and just chilling. So yeah, it's interesting because like you know I could have been brought up in a completely different country in any other different culture, like or just specifically the Philippines, and being cultivated in British culture while still trying to hold on to um, like Filipino culture. It's a very like interesting experience, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. But what was Cheadle like when you were growing up?
I think
It's almost like Stockport, isn't it? But Cheadle is not. It's not really part of Greater Manchester. It's more sort of like the Cheshire,
hmm.
the Cheshire side, isn't it? So what was it like
Like,
for
I
you?
think I from my own like from my perspective, I think Cheadle's a very like quaint like little. It's not like little, but it's like a very like it's pretty cozy. It's kind of like the vibe I get from it is like chill and like with a lot of elderly people just vibing and just enjoying life. I guess it's like
Yeah.
it's not like crazy exciting, I guess, but it's definitely cozy. It's definitely cozy.
But I'm gonna sort of like ask you this: how easy or how difficult was it for you? So like because I've experienced it myself, not looking British or so like looking Oriental or something. How easy was it for you, or how difficult?
I think I think it was okay, but I think it's because like because when I came there, I was obviously like really young, right? And I feel like with kids, it's kind of just you don't. There's like not really the kids don't really think of politics. You just like, do I like this person? Do I not like this person? And over time, you just like form friendships and like relationships and like with loads of different people from different cultures, even though like you might not be from that culture, but I think it was all right because it wasn't really much of an emphasis being like, oh, they're different from me, but it's like,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
cares? Who cares? So I think it was all right. Plus, um, there's also a lot of other Filipinos around in Cheadle,
I
so
know.
that I like that are my mates. So it's
Yeah.
it's kind of it is pretty interesting because I've like there's like the Filipino friendship group, and then there's the like white friendship group, and it's just kind of there's sometimes it's a mix, and it's kind of just like what you look like doesn't really matter. Obviously, it's just your personality and how you treat other people.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, like you said, there is a big Filipino community in Stockport, Chido, and I think I know this because when I used to have a shop in
Hmm.
Stockport too, it's all like starting a Filipino community as well. That I just wanted to sort of like for every Filipino to come over, not to feel lonely, not to feel
Yeah.
sort of like because you're in a foreign land. So having this community is actually really
True.
good for us. Um, you mentioned karaoke before. Um,
Uh huh.
I gotta say, Filipinos love music,
Hmm.
dancing, and all that kind of thing. But did you come from a sort of like a musical family apart from
Uh,
doing karaoke?
well, I wouldn't say so. No, I think like the way I kind of got into drumming was like it was so a bit of like a weird origin story, I guess. But so when I was like in year 8, I was like in high school, and I was just really bored. I was like, I want to learn a new hobby. I want to try something new. And one of my mates at the time, he was getting taught drum lessons, and I asked him, "We want to just can I learn drums off you?" And so every like week we would just meet up once a week and just start drumming. And then it's very like rudimentary and very like humble beginnings kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's just like it was just something that I found like I want to just try it and see where it goes, and just riding the wave, and here I am.
So, did you have proper lessons, or you just
No,
you?
I've actually never had a proper lesson in my life. So it's more just like it's more just it's weird because it was just like learning bit by bit and just learning the components to the drum kit and just understanding, oh, this is kind of how music is played with this specific genre. So I started out with like indie rock
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
genre,
yeah,
and it's like a very like beginner friendly um, genre to start drumming to. And it was just what I really liked about it was the energy and the atmosphere you make when it's in my opinion it's kind of like you're dancing but you hit stuff in time
yeah,
and you do that with other people, and it's just like it's fun to like express yourself with music. And I think drumming is a
yeah.
really really fun outlet, like because it's like quite physical as well, so you really get immersed into it. So yeah, it's
But
it's
I
it's so
always,
fun.
I always ask this. I ask this question to drummers that it must be natural. It must be in you. So, like you said, you didn't really like have lessons, but then you started like just learning this thing, and then you got used to it, and
Yeah,
because I mean, I have tried learning it, but I just like couldn't. So it's got to be something that's like in the person itself to be like a drummer, So like,
maybe. Well, I don't want to like I don't want to like gatekeep drumming, but it's in my opinion it's a case of like trying to be able to maneuver each limb independently, and it's a case of just in my opinion, if you find a song that you like that isn't like too crazy hard, and just try and like go really slow and build up. I guess each individual will take different durations and times to actually eventually do what they want to do. But it's a
yeah,
case
yeah,
of starting slow, building up, and just eventually you're just gonna play music to the song that you really like, and then you just have loads of fun with it. So I personally think anyone can learn the drums, and although it will take different times per the individual, but it's one of those, if you stick at it and start slow and don't rush the process, eventually it's a case of
yeah.
you will be able to pay eventually. So that's really fun. rewarding at the end of it.
Well, I just saw like I was thinking. On Friday I went to Bootle for the music festival there, and then they
Mm.
have this sort of like all the like a group of people with I think it's called snare drum too. So like things, it's just a single thing that
Yeah.
I used to do that when I was in primary school in the Philippines for Girl Scouts and things.
Oh
But we
wow.
used to have it hanging on our necks.
Mm.
And I just thought this is not cool at all. This is not the drumming that I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted to be doing.
Like I was thinking about this recently actually, how because you know how like that kind of thing is very, I think it's like drumline, it's very like American, like you know like when you see like in American films and when they do like sports, they have like loads of people on like the snare drums and they're like
Yeah.
moving around. That's like that, in my opinion, that's a very like American thing. But like you don't really see that in the UK, to be honest. I think the emphasis on like was it like big band drumming is more in the
Yeah.
US, whereas in the UK it's a bit more. I don't think that's the case necessarily.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I do agree. I think having the entire kit is much more fun
It's,
than just
yeah,
having
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. But then I
yeah.
saw this sort of like people doing it yesterday. I thought, oh, I wouldn't
Mm,
mind doing that.
mm.
I wish I just sort of like stuck onto it. But no. Did you try learning other musical instruments, or you're really just drawn to the drums?
Well, I like variety personally, and one of the other instruments I've really tried to get into is a ukulele. um, I don't know if
Oh,
that's
really?
cliche as a Filipino thing, but like ukulele. Because in Loretto College where I used to go, I was in the ukulele club for both my years there, and each Christmas I would like do the charity stuff. Like I would play
Yeah.
ukulele for like the homeless, in like my elf costume. I think I'm like that was really fun because it's like it's the because the ukulele is much more like easily accessible than an entire drum kit, and you can just you don't need a whole load of space to play ukulele,
Yeah.
but like but it's definitely do I prefer drumming over ukulele? Yes, but it's definitely like their own kind of vibe, and different times, different places. But yeah, ukulele. I get a bit of guitar and bass guitar, but mainly ukulele and drums. I would say. Um,
Oh, well, that's
but I'm
unusual.
yeah
Because I mean, I thought I thought ukulele is more so like an old people,
nah,
an old
ukulele is
people
well
song.
fun.
I was
Ukulele is really fun. It's very like it's very mellow, and I really like it because it's very I don't know. You could just go to the beach or go wherever, just chill.
yeah,
Even on your bed and just play. But don't get me wrong. I still love drumming, and
yeah,
I do
yeah.
prefer drumming over ukulele. But different vibes at different times. So
What was your first band? Because I know you're very young, but
yeah, yeah.
so so what was your Did you have like a band when you were at Loretta College or yeah? So what was your first band then?
So the first band I was in, we were called Searching for the Enemy. Um, but this was actually the same group of people I'm with now. It was
Oh,
just
is
like a
it?
previous team. So like, okay, so when I first started learning the drums in year eight, like it was quite coincidental because me and my other mates, so the current band members, we were just talking with a few others, and they were discussing how they're like talking about they play music, um, but they needed a drummer. And I was just in the group, and I was like, oh, I've just started learning drums, and I was like, well, okay, let's jam. So we went to the practice room at lunchtime, and I think they were playing "Smoke on the Water" by Deep Purple.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I was just on the bass drum, just like dish 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 dish, like literally very 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 rudimental, and because it was like in time and it added something to the atmosphere, we were just like, whoa, this is so cool. Right about one idea, right? And we're just like, whoa, and then they were like, you wanna be a drummer? I was like, yeah, sure, and then that's how we came to be. Searching for the enemy. That's what it was.
Searching for the. How old were you then?
It was a year eight, like 13, 14.
The-
I
Oh
I
wow.
think yeah.
And and all the guys from the Panamas, they all went to Loreto College.
Oh, they
Or
went to like we all went to different. So I went to Loretto. Um, three of them went Aquinas, Aquinas and
oh, so
Stockport,
yeah, in Stockport, yeah, yeah, yeah,
and one of them went to this place called UTC in Media City, in Salford, I think. Yeah,
yeah,
but it was yeah. I mean, to be fair, I went Loretto because my mum chose that place for me personally, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm going Loretto. But yeah, it's weird because there were times we were wondering like what would what would happen if we like went to different unis and would we be able to carry the band on? Um, but like conveniently, we all went to universities in Manchester. So I think like like Salford, University of Manchester, and Manchester Metropolitan, we all went to
yeah,
those unis. So we were like, oh, how convenient! We could still practice. So it was like, I mean, like, yeah, I wouldn't want the band to end. We were just discussing like in the case that we were like really far, like someone went to Edinburgh or something, and someone went to London, would
yeah,
be able
yeah,
to carry on and stuff. But conveniently, it worked out quite well. So we just like quite close to each other, so it's very good.
yeah. But when did you change the name though? And it's funny because uh, how did you choose the name the
Okay,
Panamas?
so I think we changed the name like oh god, like let me try to remember. I think it was like 4 years ago,
Oh,
5 years ago, maybe. It was a fair while ago, but like I don't. I personally, I've asked this multiple times to Charlie on these singer, and I don't think there's an actual origin story. I know it sounds very disappointing, but it was just like it sounds cool. Like I think we tried to come up with something, but like it was like very nonsensical in my opinion. But yeah, it was a case of which is probably what other bands do. Is like that sounds cool.
yeah,
Like, let's just stick with it. So
yeah.
yeah, so that's
Well,
how we
it
ended up doing.
definitely. I think it sounds cool because whenever you come on stage, the song by Van Halen, Panama.
Oh
It's
yeah, it was like Panama.
yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
but
We were debating. Sorry.
it's not deliberate though. You didn't actually choose the name the Panamas because of that song Panama, did you? Or
Like I don't think so. I think it was just like it sounded cool. It was like, oh wait a minute, there's a song we could like. It would be cool to walk out to. Like I think we've considered it a few times. We're like, we could walk out to this song because it would make sense. And it was like, let's
yeah,
go. But yeah, because searching for the enemy it was brought about because our Oscar, our rhythm guitarist, his brother, I think he was in a metal band, and he just said he just suggested a name, searching for the enemy. But it's really weird because we're a bunch of like 14-year-olds. We don't look like we're into heavy metal or anything. That is like searching for the enemy. It sounds very menacing, and yeah, but it's like we played a lot of like a lot of the stuff we played early on was like I Monkeys, and like Red Hot Chili Peppers, a bit of Black Party
yeah,
too, but I think it was mainly driven by Charlie, our vocalist's kind of like choice because obviously like he needs to be able to sing it. So and he was really into the Art Monkeys, and I think that really like shaped my early drumming, like because obviously I'm here trying to learn songs, and a lot of the skills that came about were from the songs that I was trying to learn from the Art Monkeys predominantly. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I think that like formed the foundations of like how I currently drum, and it's kind of just like driven me off into particular directions. I would say.
Yeah. Well, the last time I saw you was at the it was a sold out gig at the 33 Oldham Street
Hmm.
venue. But before that, I actually saw you at Stockport Plaza like a few
Oh,
years
Foodie
before
Friday.
that
Is that
kind of
Foodie
thing.
Friday?
Yeah, it was like during the Strawberry Studios like event,
Oh,
and you
sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Studios. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you did a couple of songs. I saw
Hmm.
like from the like Strawberry Studios catalog. So because
Yeah,
they've got.
yeah.
I think I can't remember now whether it's a was it any, like an Inspire Carpet songs that you did, but anyways, yeah, you did. I saw you there, and I thought, wow, this band. I think that was the first time that I saw you, and I thought it was really really good. So, but because it was like loads of bands playing at the time, it was a festival. You didn't have that sort of like Panama song when you
Yeah,
when you came
true,
on
true,
stage. But
true.
I thought it's a really good touch because it's almost like those Rocky films
Oh
when
yeah, 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 yeah.
he's
I do,
like
I
coming
do.
out and there's the eye of the tiger. So
It's like a dramatic walkout. Oh, just walk out. It's like let's go.
yeah,
No, I do. Yeah, yeah. No, it definitely gives off the same vibe. It definitely gives off the energy.
yeah. Well, you don't you do write your own songs. You're not just sort of like a cover. So like you don't just do cover songs. You don't cover songs. But so what was the writing process like? Do you have your own input as to the sort of like the jump part to the song? So what's it like?
So what usually happens is our lead vocalist, Charlie, he like forms the bare bones of like the song with like the lyrics and the chords, and then we when we go to meet up at band practice, we kind of just form around that, trying to create particular vibes, and then we refine it over time. We're just like, okay, like for me, from the forming the drum beat, what happens is, let's say Charlie brings about a song, I
Yeah,
would just try and he would just play the chords, and then we would all try and just jam, and then we'd normally do that for like 20 minutes, just straight up jamming, and see what works, what doesn't work. Because realistically, this is the most like fluid part of the process, where it's like, oh, just try, let's try and see what works, try and see what doesn't work, and then
yeah,
from what does work, head in that direction, refine it, and take how to go communicate with the other band members, see what they think and what kind of atmosphere they think is appropriate as well. Because it's quite interesting actually. Because typically we play like indie alt rock, and there are some songs that we've kind of taken to directions which are fairly different to what we normally
yeah.
do. Like currently, we have a song in the process, and it's quite interesting because it's like very, in my opinion, very like bedroom pop, a bit like lo-fi
Oh yeah, yeah,
sounding,
yeah,
and I was like, this is pretty cool because it's like different to what we're used to. But in terms of the general songwriting process, the way we do it is Charlie brings the the backbone of the thing, and then we kind of form around it and help refine and cultivate the idea that he initially has, to then
yeah.
make it our own thing overall. So it's really fun. It's really fun.
And but you all have a say into what the outcome is going to be like for the song. It's not
Definitely,
like,
definitely.
okay, well, Charlie does everything and this is your part, you do this and then
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly, exactly. Because we just go we yeah, I said we just contribute to like what we think, and then we communicate between ourselves. Oh, like I think this riff should be more intense. I think there should be a bit more of a build up here. We should have a breakdown in this area. So it's
yeah,
like quite nuanced. I do understand that like different bands have their own different processes, and I like wonder and ask like other musicians like, how do you write a song? Like what's your process? Because I think songwriting is an incredibly interesting process. Obviously, like, I don't really go much into the lyrical side of it because I'm the drummer, but like I do ask, and it's like incredibly nuanced, and each person has their own personalized method of coming up with their music. But
yeah,
from
yeah,
that, we like each individual band member would contribute and cultivate what we think on what's good on our own and what's good with each other, and eventually it just comes up as a coherent piece of music.
yeah. But do you write some songs? Do you write some of the lyrics of the songs or you concentrate on the
I'm probably absolutely atrocious. I've never tried personally, but it's because like the thing is though, like out of all the songs we've made and played, there's only one song we've made that isn't initially written by Charlie.
Oh,
and it was
okay.
actually made by the bassist Harry, and it was like really heavy, and I was like, this is so cool. It was called When Will You Go, and it was very like it sucks because we don't have a recording of it, but it's very like menacing and very like a bit grungy a little bit, but it was like very different to what we were doing at the time. Um, but most of the songs are written by Charlie, and we like
Yeah, yeah.
form around it more so.
So, would you consider your sort of like, well, I know bands don't really like to be sort of like put in just one particular genre, but yours
Mhm.
is more so like indie rock. Will that be so like? Is that
Yeah, I would say that's more appropriate because like I personally don't mind where whatever genre
yeah,
gets played. It is we're just the this is the kind of music and wherever it fits it fits. Um,
yeah,
but the but yeah, so most of the, because our I would say our roots are very like indie alternative rock.
yeah, yeah,
That has definitely played a lot like a huge role in driving us to the different things we like. Even though each individual band member likes different kinds of music, it kind of just melds together in the songs we make. Like personally, I really like pop punk, and but we haven't really got like a proper pop punk kind of song. We have like one, Beckoning
yeah,
Heart. It's like
yeah,
it's quite like it's got like that kind of that core kind of vibe to it, but like it's a genre wise. I personally don't mind
you
because
know, yeah,
I
yeah,
personally really like funk. I like funk drumming. I still really want to explore it more, but because a lot of the stuff we do is like indie and alternative rock, that's kind of like thing I'm focusing on. But I'm like not opposed to getting inspiration from other genres.
yeah. Do you do covers though? Do you cover a song, or do you always just play your original songs whenever you do gigs?
So, personally, I would love to do a lot of different covers because, well, more recently, well, at the start actually. So when we first started out, it was obviously like a lot of covers because we haven't made our own
Yeah.
coherent songs yet, and a lot of that was Red Hot Chili Peppers, Arctic Monkeys, Two Door Cinema Club, very like
All
very
right. Yeah.
a bit of Oasis.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
like core to what we did, and there was a lot of covers. And then over time, when we made more and more songs, it just like slowly the number of covers just slowly dwindled. Where like when we play gigs, it's usually just all our own songs now, and I guess that kind of goes with trying to obviously promote your own music. But like one of my favorite covers we've ever done, it was we played at Atma in
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah. In
played we
Manchester.
played a
Yeah.
gig.
I like
Yeah,
that venue. It's really good. Yeah.
so we played in Atma. We had a headline, and the cover we did was "One Kiss" by Dua Lipa, and that was
Oh.
we did like a disco, yeah, we did like a disco kind of cover, and I was like, this is so
Yeah.
fun, this is so fun to do. So like, I'm a huge fan of like doing covers of songs which aren't like normally covered.
Yeah.
Um, like
Yeah.
when we were thinking of suggestions for covers, one of the songs I suggested that had a good like reception was "Troublemaker" by Ollie Murs. I thought that would be a pretty interesting cover. Like I don't know. I think being like you don't want to be like stuck on we need to do songs that are like that are like I don't know, like have bands
Just
because then it's like
yeah.
it's straightforward to cover. But
Yeah.
I think the thing about expressing with music is like just if you find a song that you like, I mean, if you think you can translate that into a band kind of configuration, I think that makes it even more fun. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it like it goes against the grain. It goes against the
But
grain.
what did the other band members think of that?
I mean, they thought it was pretty good. To be
Yeah.
fair, yeah, they thought it was pretty. They were like, yeah, that's pretty. That's a really pretty good idea. But
Yeah.
there were a lot of other suggestions. But yeah,
So
it
how
was
long have you
fun.
been together now? From
So
searching for the enemy to the Panamas. How long
so
have you been together?
since year eight, was that like at least
God,
10 years?
like,
10 years
yeah,
probably. The thing is that
because
like
you have built up. a huge following now, especially around around here in Chile or maybe in Stockport area. And of course, being a young band yourself, you do have quite a lot of sort of like young fans as well. Because when I saw you in Manchester, uh, I felt like I was the only sort of like old person.
Nah, you're not old. You're not old.
Yeah, and it's another good thing about it is that was actually the first gig that I've been to. There's so many Filipinos that
Oh yeah,
I remember so like I remember them as young kids, when I
yeah,
was still at the shop and they were there and they're really enjoying it. I really felt like a like a proud tita when I was
yeah. No, it's great because like, well, I think one really weird thing is like with the performing is you get to see loads of people that like yeah, loads of people that you wouldn't normally see together, kind of just enjoying like a particular thing. Like
yeah.
like I had my mates from uni, my mates from home, like, and then they just enjoying. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. It's kind of like crossover episode, but like it's definitely a bit of a surreal experience, I would say.
Yeah. Well, Stockport, I don't know if you've seen that, the border of sort of like Manchester and Stockport. There's a plaque there that says Stockport is the home of blossoms and things.
Oh yeah.
But do you consider yourself a Stockport band or a Cheadle band?
Uh,
Where the
I
rest
think
of the band from? Are they from Cheadle themselves?
so. The rest of the band are from Cheadle Hume area.
Oh,
I
okay,
would say
okay.
overall. So I guess Cheadle, yeah. But I think for the sake of simplicity, we say Stockport.
Stockport,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, for the sake of simplicity. But I, in terms of like identifying, I guess Stockport, yeah. Even though we're all from Cheadle, I think it's because like our music is like because of our we because we practice a lot in Stockport and it's where like
Yeah,
we would hang
yeah.
out. I would say Stockport. Yeah.
Well, it would be nice to sort like maybe in a few years' time you'll get your name there. So like Home of Blossoms and the
Yeah, that would be sick. That would be sick. One really cool thing though, it's I don't know if it's still there. You know how Stockport had those like big frogs for like the art
Oh
pieces?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there was one of them. I think it was in the Peel Center, and they had loads of bands on the name, like I or like written on it. On like one of them said the Panamas like on the
Really?
frog. Yeah, and I was like, this is so cool. I don't know what's
Oh
going
my
on,
god,
but it's so cool.
I missed
Yeah,
them. I don't think the
yeah,
frogs are there anymore though, because
yeah.
I'm not sure if the one near the station is still there, but I
Hmm.
haven't seen them. I don't think they're still around. But so it's at the Peel Center
Yeah, there was one
that
at the
where they
Peel
have
Center
all these.
that we saw,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is so cool. This is so cool.
Oh
So
wow. So have you actually released any material or album yet, or are you in the
yeah,
process of
so
recording your songs at the
yeah,
moment?
so the plan is like because we released an EP, just I think it was just named the Panamas, and I think our current process is we're just gonna record songs as they come and just like get them out and just because I don't think there's obviously like there's not like oh you have an album by this month or whatever. So we don't want to rush the creative process, and
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
just trying to see what comes by and try to cultivate and make songs over time. Obviously, we want to like make as many songs as we can, but we don't want to like compromise on the quality or having to rush either. So we do have like a couple songs in mind, and it was just a case like recently because it was like towards the end of uni. We're just so busy, like so busy. Where it was like I can't really practice that much right now because my degree. but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
but it's definitely like it's a fun process because you're trying to even though you have to balance everything with it. It's you're trying to express yourself with music and just try to do stuff that you find fun with people who also find it fun.
yeah. So, but do you have like a timeline? So, do your fans will actually sort of like look out for when you're thinking of releasing an album, or maybe touring or things like that?
So yeah, so in terms of the current timeline, I guess we have like this is like we have a gig on the 12th of August, and we are headlining Deaf Institute. I don't know if that's actually. I don't even know if that's been announced yet. That might be a spoiler.
And,
That might be a spoiler.
I don't think I've been announced because I would have so.
That might have been a spoiler, actually.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, so there's that, and we're kind of just focusing on that, and then trying to develop new songs and hopefully play the new songs at Deaf Institute, and then from there we can then gauge on what other places we'd want to play. It would be really cool to like play out of Manchester,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
and like spread to like nearby cities like Liverpool or Sheffield or something. But in terms of current time, we're just trying to focus on like the next gig right now, and then
Yeah.
if we think those new songs are good enough, or if there was if it was a good reception with them, we would plan to record them and release them. Yeah,
Yeah, and hopefully release it in sort of like a physical format. Because I mean, it's okay to have it on sort of like digital download and things like
yeah,
that. A physical format is always the best, and it's
yeah.
good to sort of like have after the gig the people will buy the merch and then get it signed by the band and things like that.
Oh no, true. Like, we had the discussion about like making physical copies of music, but we were
Yeah,
just like we didn't really know the what would be the scale of the demand kind of thing. Mainly because I don't know like how many of my mates would buy CDs or vinyls, because some like some people might not have like a record player to like use a vinyl, or but I guess you don't
yeah,
necessarily
yeah.
you're gonna buy it to play it. But um yeah, we just weren't sure on like the
The
demand kind of thing.
demand of sort of like
Yeah,
yeah, maybe so like start on a I don't know how cost effective that would be, but maybe start on sort of like a limited run
yeah,
of an
that's true.
EP or something. Because I've seen sort of like other bands do that, so like have just a limited run of maybe 100 or 200 12-inch or maybe a 7-inch vinyl, and
Mm,
then
yeah,
sell it at the gigs, and then
true.
people would just sort of like have it, because I think it's actually good, because I have seen after the gig in Manchester people wanted to get merch, but you only had like t-shirts and stuff. So
Yeah,
people
true.
were buying t-shirts, but it's
Yeah,
always nice to have the music there as well. But do you know, it's for me personally, because I go into gigs and I really feel like I'm so proud that you're in a band, being from the same Filipino community, and like I don't know if you've heard Rain Castillo as well from Liverpool.
familiar.
There's Rain Castillo, her name is. So she's doing sort of like really well in Liverpool. And then Kevin Deos from Denova, and so like Cherry Anderson, Uberfuse in London. I just sort of like feel God, this they're doing it. It's so good. I feel like all these Filipinos, and I always talk about Pinoy pride, and for me it's amazing that you're all out there and you're all sort of like doing it. We're not, and you're releasing original material as well, not just sort of like doing cover versions and stuff. But what was not the last one, but where was sort of like you do gigs in Manchester and Stockport, but have
Yeah.
you ever been sort of like anywhere outside Greater Manchester?
Well, we did like I think we did do a gig. I think it was in Birmingham.
Oh, you did?
I think it was in Birmingham.
Oh,
We were
yeah, yeah.
supporting the Lathams. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
it was in this. I forgot what the place was called because it was a while ago. But yeah, we were supporting the Lathams in Birmingham. That
Yeah,
was cool. Like obviously, like it was a bit hard getting like people we knew from Manchester over to Birmingham, obviously, because I mean they might have not known who we were supporting, or it might have
yeah.
just been a bit of a hassle to like go that far away, I guess. But it was pretty cool because I was like, whoa, we're playing outside of Manchester. That's an
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
Are you good friends with the Lathams, or
Um.
do you know them well? Because they're
I,
doing really well at the moment, aren't they?
yeah. No. Yeah. They're doing. Yeah. They are doing really well. I'd say. Like I personally don't really keep much contact with many of the bands.
Other musicians?
Yeah, but it's not because like it's not like animosity or anything. It's just because I'm just like, yo, this is cool, and then I kind of just like, all right, on to the next thing.
Oh,
but like in terms of like the social contact, it's mainly like Chaz, because Chaz is like our front man, right? So he's the one who
yeah,
like kind of keeps the contact the most. But it's fun. It is really fun. Like just like even like it's fun playing with whoever, if they're like a huge band or if they're a small
yeah,
band.
yeah.
Like our support from 33 Oldham Street. That was their. I think that was their first like
The first,
proper
yeah,
gig.
that's right.
Yeah, that was their
Yeah,
first proper gig. So it was still really fun. Like with it, regardless of experience, like if you can like put on a show and entertain, that's what really matters.
yeah. When you do support for so like bands like the Lathams, do you bring your own kit, or because I would assume that that's your own drum kit that you use when you do your gigs, right? But when you're supporting other bands, do you have your own, or do you use their drum kit?
So it really depends on like what the other drummers. So if you're like the main support or you're the headline, sometimes the headline will let you use their drum kit. But
Yeah.
other times, like we were supporting, Fuzzy Sun.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we were
That's
supporting.
the gorilla, right? That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
gorilla. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So Fuzzy Sun, their drummer had their own kit, but they wanted to use it themselves, which is perfectly fine because it's obviously their kit. So the main support, I think they're called Gathering of Strangers. Their drummer, I think is Pete. He let me use his drum kit, and I'm very thankful for that. But in terms of like generally, what happens is like you bring breakables, so that would be like cymbals, the snare drum, and the bass pedal. You normally bring those because they're like the ones most likely to break, and you don't want to break someone else's like expensive pieces of metal. So you bring
Oh,
your
I
own.
see.
So, but in terms of like the drum kit itself, so like the
Yeah.
toms, the stands, they're normally like you're free to use them because they're like not likely to break. So yeah,
Oh, right. I didn't know that. So that's the things that you change when you're
yeah,
playing.
exactly.
Oh God, I didn't realize.
It's to be fair, I didn't really think about it until I was going to a gig because I was like, do I do all like if there's like three bands, does that mean each of us has to bring an entire drum kit?
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a fair thing to wonder, to be fair, but to like make things efficient, obviously you're just gonna be like the stuff that I don't think is gonna break. You're well good enough to borrow it for because if you're coming if let's say there was a support before us, they could just use my drum kit, and then it means that when we go on, I don't have to move much because they just take their stuff off and I just put it on. So it makes for
Yeah.
like an efficient transfer.
Do you not feel so like precious about your drum kit? It said,
Um,
"Don't touch that," or "Don't
well,
touch."
well, well, personally speaking, I'm here like as long as you're not like beating the crap out of it. I guess it's fine. Like they're drums; they're meant to be hit. But like as long as you like play them like they're your own, and you treat them with respect as with anything, I think
Yeah.
it's perfectly fine. I do think though, like obviously you should use your own breakables like the cymbals and the snare because they're likely to break, and I don't want some person to break my breakables unless they're willing to pay for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you ever get so like starstruck? I mean, who is like um the one that you really love, so like as a musician or a band that you supported in the past, or
Ooh.
do you ever get starstruck or so, like when you see someone, it's like, oh my god.
I think I think I think like I mainly like if I see a band that's like very coherent, regardless of like the popularity, I'm just like, yo, this is some good stuff right now. Like
Yeah,
there was I went to Big Hands, the bar in
yeah, yeah.
town. Yeah,
And
so I
yeah,
went
on
there.
Oxford Road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I went there recently with a few of my course mates after our last exam, and they had a jam session going on, and I was here like, this is so cool. I was like, oh, because it's just like random people just coming in playing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I was like, this is scary. And eventually I went up there and I just was just jamming with like a couple of the bar staff, and I was like, this is so cool. And my classmates are like, whoa, this is so cool. But like I think it's just like getting into it's just like being like if I see like a group of people just playing music, and it's it's very coherent, and there's a lot of like emotion and spice, I guess, to it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is so cool. Like, regardless of like if they're well known or not, if they
Oh,
can,
no,
if they,
yeah.
if they make something that makes you excited, that's what really matters.
Well, do you get recognized now?
I would say like I mean, I think I'm pretty like chill with it, to be honest. I guess every so often, but it's mainly like the build up, or it's like nearby when the gig is happening. I'm just
Yeah.
walking into like, oh, you're from the Panamas. It's because like I'm not the front man. But like, who knows? Maybe one gig will put the drum kit right in the front and everyone else in the back.
You should.
But
You should.
but the Charlie's the one who gets recognized most because he's the front man.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting actually because on the like on our Spotify, our like photo, it's like me in the middle.
Yeah.
But I not gonna lie, I think the reason why is because it's easy because I'm the shortest. So and everyone else in the band's really tall. So it's like it just makes sense if I'm just in the middle for these photos, and it kind of looks like I'm like the front man.
Yeah.
But it is quite interesting though. Like it's mainly Charlie gets recognized, but like I don't really take like compliments that well because I'm just like as in like I'm really shy. I'm just like thank you.
Aw.
So like after the gig, they're like, oh, that was great. I'm like, oh, thank you. Like I really do appreciate it. I really do. It's just like I'm just like ah. Yeah. It's a bit shy when it comes
But
to that.
how do you feel about like people asking for photos, like me, for example? So
Yeah.
like,
I mean, like
pictures,
I love it. I love it because it's like a sign that you enjoyed. Because that's what really matters. Because we're here to put on a performance where everyone enjoys themselves and has a good
yeah,
time, and it's just like reinforcing that by like take a photo. But what I think is most important is like does the audience enjoy themselves? That's what really matters.
and how do your mom and dad so like feel about you?
They're like like the thing is though with like they feel the same way as you in terms of when they go to a gig, they feel really old. I'm not saying they're old. I'm not saying they're old. They just feel like because like as you said before, it's a lot of like younger. The audience is quite young, right? So it's like
Yeah,
it's like I don't have the energy for this.
yeah,
but you just feel the back like yeah. But then everyone's like jumping into each other. But no, they really do like it. They really do like it. They tell my family back in the Philippines, and I'm like, whoa, look
yeah.
at this. But
I
yeah,
bet they're really proud. I mean, I am proud. I'm proud. So like when I saw you doing that, the drumming and everything, especially being a drummer as well. So so I really I'm really happy and I'm glad and I wish you and the Panamas all the very best and everything.
thank you.
But I gotta ask you, so like when you're not drumming, because we said earlier that you've just finished your exam. So what was it that you're doing? Because I know that you told me it's like a medical thing.
Yeah, so my degree that I just finished is called medical physiology. It's basically
Wow.
like a lot of disease and understanding the mechanisms and how a disease arises and how to potentially treat it. But it's more like the research aspect of it. So obviously with like if you do medicine, it's very like clinical. But medical physiology is like we work with in the University of Manchester. We work with the School of Biosciences and the School of Medicine. They're like two separate things,
Yeah.
and we basically learn like the research aspect of different diseases, like diabetes or like hypertension. It is quite interesting.
Yeah. Are you gonna be so like I know that your parents are nurses or in the medical profession. Are you thinking of so like doing the same thing? Your
Oh,
babies are like but
well, okay.
carry on drumming.
Well, to be fair, I'm probably just gonna keep carrying on drumming until like whenever. I'm like, it's not really a thing that I'm applying to be like, oh, there's the deadline. It's kind of just another hobby that I just enjoy. Like I'm currently, yeah, I just finished my degree and I'm currently transitioning onto like a master's in infectious disease, and hopefully, like apply for a PhD and hopefully get like a lectureship position in something like that. But that's like far away. But it's something to aim
Oh,
for, I guess.
wow. But still carry on drumming though.
Oh yeah, no, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I need something else to do in there to distract me from the stress.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I'm gonna ask you some because I know it's nearly 3 o'clock now. I'm gonna ask you some of the standard questions that I ask. Do you know? Do you twirl when you play the drums?
Oh, like I feel like no, I don't, because I feel like I just drop my sticks and make an embarrassment of myself. Like I was thinking, like whenever I see someone do it, I'm like, that's really cool. I'm not confident enough to do that because like I haven't like actively practiced to do that. I guess I like
Yeah.
it's like this motion but it definitely looks cool. Bit too spooky if I mess up though. So yeah.
No, I just think it's really nice because last Friday when I went to this music festival, sometimes there are bits there that I watch the drummer, and then there are sort of like these quiet bits when they don't drum,
Mhm,
and then
mhm.
I was sort of like waiting. He's gonna twirl and then play, but then they
Yeah.
don't, and I just sort of like
Oh,
think
fair enough. Fair
it
enough.
would be nice to sort of like do it before you actually sort of like hit the drums or something. But you've never done it. You've never done it.
I've never I'm too scared. Like, well, who knows? Maybe I'll just like actively try and practice it for once. Because don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
it does look cool.
yeah.
I'm just not confident enough right now to just like I'm just like. Shh. But maybe the next gig,
Yeah.
I'll just two hands. But yeah,
Yeah, well, you've done loads of gigs already, and have you ever had any sort of like accidents or what I call drumming disasters?
like nothing like crazy, but like
Yeah.
in we had a gig in City Square, and out of all the things that were missing from like the drum kit that was brought over, there was no seat, like drum throne. So I was here like, what do we do here? I was pretty sure because I asked my brother. I was like, bro, right, pack this. I like organized it and everything, after the gig, I called him. I was like, did you pack this by any chance? And he's like, no, I forgot. I was like, oh my god.
Oh no.
But I ended up getting like a random like plastic chair from like the like underneath the stage, and because it was like lower, I sat lower than I normally do. It was a bit weird. I felt a bit uneasy, but it was all right in the end. But I was just like in that initial moment, I was like, what am I gonna do? There's nothing to sit on, like, but yeah, I would say that's probably like one of the weirdest ones, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And you didn't feel like so like doing it standing because I've seen so like jumping do so like standing.
I was like, I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, I would just be like, if I was like, how am I gonna play the bass drum with the hi hat if my ankles are gonna be like this whilst I'm stood up? I'll just fall
Yeah.
over. But yeah, that was weird. It's alright. It got alright. It was alright. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, do you have any drumming heroes?
I'd say I'll probably have to owe like my early like drumming experience to Matt Helders and from the Arctic Monkeys and Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Oh,
because
right.
like they like shape, but that's like kind of by learning the songs that they were part of and
Yeah,
learning the different attributes of their own kind of drumming. Like
yeah,
Matt Helders, he plays like really fast stuff, especially in like the slightly earlier Iron Monkeys songs, and I feel like that translated a lot into like my drumming style because I was listening to like old recordings and old videos of like us playing, and I would play some really fast stuff, and I'm here like I feel old already. But it was like really fast, and I always wondered why I would be so sweaty after a gig. But in terms of like Chad Smith, it's very like because a lot of the Red Hot Chili Pepper stuff is quite funky, right? And
yeah,
that kind of like that kind of play style, because you don't have to play that fast, but it's definitely like there's a lot of spice and a lot of like sizzle, I guess, when it comes to funk, and it's just you kind of get like like when you see someone play like a mad beat and you're like, oh, this is this is some cool stuff right now, yeah. So
Yeah. So
I
you've
would say
learned to
them.
sort of like pace yourself and not just really beating it as fast as
Oh
you
yeah,
can.
no, true, true. I've definitely like mellowed out. I've mellowed out over like the past. I sound like really old, but I've definitely mellowed out over the past like 10 years, like from since we started. Because yeah, definitely mellowed out. But
Yeah.
there's someone else I want to mention as well. There's this drummer. Like I'm not sure if you've heard of them. They're called Larnell Lewis. Um, they they play for a it's like a jazz funk
Oh,
fusion, jazz fusion. I recommend you check him out. But the reason why I say this, Lana Lewis, is because he he's he emphasized on you got to play to what the song requires, and don't like overplay, don't necessarily underplay either. But if you're trying to make a particular emotion or like vibe of
yeah.
the song, try to work to form that rather than just trying to play stuff that looks cool. Because you could play stuff that's simple and it definitely drives the song further than if you just play something complicated or flashy. Um, but yeah,
Uh,
so that's why. Because I think especially it's really important when you're trying to make your own songs is you're trying to make the song work. You're not trying to like
yeah. Yeah.
necessarily play for yourself. You're trying to play for the song and with the rest of the band. You're trying to work together as a cohesive unit.
Yeah.
Not necessarily by making things flashy, but by making things work. So playing for what the song requires is is what I learned,
Yeah.
and it's really like core to like my drumming philosophy, I guess.
Yeah. 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 That's good. Is that sort of like something that you'd advise? Because I know you said that you already feel old or something. So have you got any any advice to sort of like aspiring drummers
Yeah,
out there?
so I would say my like bits of advice would be like just first of all, play songs that you think are cool or fun to play. Like if you like pop punk, play some pop punk songs. If you like jazz,
Yeah.
play some jazz. Play if you like rock, play some rock. Like just start, but don't start too fast. Start slow and build up from there. And eventually, it's one of those you have to trust the process. You have to trust the process because you're not going to be immensely good right when you start off. There's always going to be road bumps, but it's about being able to approach them in a way that is productive and in a way that doesn't
Yeah.
put you off to from drumming. It's just like it's kind of just growing pains, and it's part of the process that you have to just like go with, and it will work out eventually.
Yeah. You do sound like you're old now.
I feel like it.
Experience or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, experience. Aiden said that it's great to hear from Cheadle because Aiden is also in Stockport. He said that best of luck in your musical career and
Thank
side
you.
by side with your academic and medical career as well. I've only got one last question now. Do you still speak Tagalog?
Oh, um, kind of. Okay, it's a bit weird. Okay, this is a bit of a touchy subject. Kind of. So it's weird because I can understand pretty well, but it's like I don't feel confident
Trying
enough.
to,
I don't feel
yeah.
confident enough, especially in a live podcast, to start trying. But it's weird because with my parents, they kind of know like Bisaya and Tagalog. So to
Yeah,
me, it's one thing, and I can't like differentiate to be like, oh, this is Tagalog or this Bisaya. It's to me, it's one. It's Filipino. So
yeah,
one
yeah,
thing that I found quite interesting was couple like one of my mates. He speaks predominantly Bisaya, but my other mates speak Tagalog. So if we're on like an online call and he's talking to his parents, I can understand him like decently well, but my other mates are like, "What is he saying?" And yeah, it's one of them. But it's weird because I can understand if someone was talking to me, or if I was just overhearing conversation, I could get a general gist. It's basically
yeah.
anything. I can understand anything like what my parents would say, kind of thing. But any slang, probably not. But
Oh,
yeah,
well, it's good. At least you can understand it. That's why I
yeah,
always
yeah.
say, Adele, if you understand what they're saying, that's fine. Even though you can't, you can't sort of like talk or speak in Tagalog yourself, but as long as you can understand it, then that's
Yeah.
okay. Um, so you mentioned, I know it's like a spoiler, but you mentioned the August 12th. Is there sort of like other gigs before that, or what's next with the Panamas?
So in terms of gigs before that, we're not gonna do anything before that, mainly because this is like the biggest thing we've ever done so far. So we're mainly like racking up the practices
Just
and
yeah, yeah.
trying to make new tunes. Because as I said before, because of the uni exams, it's been really busy for the past few months, and only now we've had like a break or an opportunity to be like, right, cool, let's get together and sort this out really. But it's definitely it's really exciting because like I've never played there before and it's gonna
Yeah, it
be
sounds
pretty huge.
yeah, it sounds exciting. That's a great venue, the Deaf Institute. I love going to that venue as well. So, well, I really look forward to it, and I'm
Thank you.
sure I'm sure it will be on the Panama's Facebook page soon.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo, for saying yes to ask the drummer.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And big love to you and your family, and you're moving back to your parents' house. So just say hello to them and everything, and hopefully see you again soon. See you in the Panama soon. So,
Yeah.
any other sort of like last words you want to say to?
Um. Well, just thank you again. Thank you again for having me. This is like it's been great. Yeah, I've never been on a podcast before, so it's definitely a new experience. But I'm glad
Yeah.
I glad I came on. It's been really fun.
I'm really glad I said yes as well. Thank you so much. You did really well. Thank you. See you soon. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
Lorenzo. Bye. Bye. Oh, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It's really good. I'm really proud of him. It's for me being him being originally from the Philippines. I know he grew up in the UK, and just like what he said. He's almost like part of well, he's from here. Just like my daughter, she's actually from here. But having that Filipino background, I always feel like you've got to do it. They're amazing, and like all these Filipino young ones that are making it in the music industry here in the UK. I really want to support them and everything. So, thank you all so much, and hello, Aros. I'm glad that you that I caught you sort of like just there, just as I was saying goodbye to everybody. A is in Singapore, so hello there in Singapore. Um, Oh, right. So once again, thank you, and thank you, Lorenzo. And do keep an eye out for next week's guest announcement post. It's going to be another awesome drummer for next week. And as always, love music, love life, and love drummers. And please, as we have to sort of like support our Filipino sort of like friends. I know this is not just sort of like about the Filipino things, but I do love them, and I do sort of like it's really close to my heart whenever I see a Filipino musician making it here in the UK. So, thank you, Lorenzo, and thank you, everyone. Hope to see you all again next week. Bye for now. Bye. Bye.